It is 110 degrees in the shade, and the grid is a memory. Your food is rotting before you can eat it. Your medicine is cooking in the heat, and the very idea of ice feels like a cruel joke. Now picture this. 2,000 years ago, in a Persian desert hotter and drier than wherever you are sitting, people made ice, real ice, stored it through the summer, served chilled drinks and frozen desserts in the dead heat of August. No electricity, no refrigerant, no moving parts. Just a building, the night sky, and an understanding of physics so elegant it should embarrass every engineer alive. They called it the Yakhchal, ice pit. And once you understand how it worked, you will never again believe that cold requires a power plant. Here is the danger you are facing, and the danger they faced. Heat does not just make you uncomfortable, it spoils your food, breeds the bacteria that gives you dysentery, and ruins the insulin and antibiotics that keep people alive. In the ancient world, cold was wealth and survival. The Persians solved it not by fighting the desert, but by understanding it, and the solution rests on 3 layers of physics stacked on top of each other. The first principle is radiative night cooling, and this is the one that breaks people's brains, so listen carefully. Every object radiates heat as infrared energy. During the day, the sun overpowers everything, but on a clear, dry desert night, the sky above you is effectively a window onto the cold of deep space, which sits near absolute zero. A surface facing that open sky radiates its heat upward into space faster than the air can replace it. With no clouds and no humidity to trap that escaping infrared, a shallow pool of water exposed to the night sky can radiate away so much heat that it drops below the air temperature and freezes, even when the air itself never quite hits freezing. The Persians dug long, shallow channels of water on the cold desert nights, shielded them from the day, and let the sky itself pull the heat out until the water turned to ice. The black emptiness of space was their freezer. The second principle is evaporative cooling. When water evaporates, it steals heat from whatever it leaves behind, which is why sweat cools you and why a wet cloth in a breeze turns cold. In the dry desert air, evaporation is ferocious. The Yakhchal complex used flowing water from a qanot, an ancient underground aqueduct that carried mountain water for miles, without pumps, and it used the desert wind, sometimes funneled through wind catcher towers, to drive evaporation that chilled the air in the water before it ever had a chance to freeze. The third principle, and the reason any of it lasted past sunrise, is mass insulation. The ice they made and harvested was stored in a giant domed chamber, much of it dug deep into the cool earth, with walls of mud brick up to 2 meters thick. And here is the genius. They mixed their mortar from sand, clay, egg whites, lime, goat hair, and ash into a material called sarouge, a waterproof heat-resistant plaster that sealed the structure and stopped heat from creeping in. The tall conical dome was not decoration. Whatever warm air did seep in rose up into the peak of the cone and vented out the top through an opening, drawing heat away from the precious ice packed in the pit below. Thick earthen mass to block the heat, a tall vented dome to exhaust what got through, and the ground itself as a cold sink. They could keep ice frozen straight through a desert summer. Stack those 3 together and you see the whole machine. Make the ice at night by bleeding heat into outer space and into the dry wind. Harvest it before dawn. Pack it deep into a thick-walled, earth-cooled, self-venting dome. And eat cold all summer in a place where the daytime sun could kill you. No fuel, no electricity, no failure point that a supply chain could ever cut. Now, can you actually use this? Yes, in principle, if you respect what the physics demands and what it forbids. The hard truth is that radiative ice making needs specific conditions: a clear sky, very low humidity, and cold, still desert nights. If you live somewhere humid or cloudy, the night sky is no longer an open window to space. The infrared gets trapped, and you will not freeze water this way. The Persians had a near-perfect climate for it, and you may not. So know your conditions before you bet your survival on them. But the principles scale down, and that is where the prepper takes the lesson. For radiative cooling, on a clear, dry night, you can expose a shallow, wide, dark, well-insulated tray of water to the open sky, shielded from any warm surfaces around it, and pull its temperature well below the air. Even if it never freezes, chilled water and a chilled surface are worth real money when the power is gone. For evaporative cooling, the working man's version is the Zier pot, a clay pot inside a larger clay pot with wet sand packed between them. As the water evaporates through the porous outer clay, it drops the temperature inside enough to keep vegetables and even some medicine cool for days in dry heat. No electricity. And for storage, the lesson is simply mass and earth. Anything you want to keep cool goes deep, surrounded by thick earthen walls, vented at the top so warm air escapes. A cellar dug into the ground, walls of packed earth or adobe, a vent at the high point. That is a Yakhchal in miniature, and it is within reach of anyone with a shovel and patience. Here are the limits, plainly. This is climate dependent, and humidity is the enemy of both the radiative trick and the evaporative one. It is labor intensive, those domes took whole communities to build. And it is slow, you make ice over many cold nights, not on demand. This is not a freezer you flip on. It is a relationship with your environment that you build over a season. So sit with what this really means. We have convinced ourselves that comfort is a thing you buy and plug in, that cold comes from a compressor, that without the grid we are helpless animals sweating in the dark. And then you look back 2,000 years and find a desert people who beat the heat with mud, water, wind, and the cold of the night sky itself. Using nothing but a deep understanding of how the world actually works, they were not richer than us. They were not luckier. They were simply paying attention to physics. That is still true tonight. The same sky, the same evaporation, the same cool earth. All of it waiting, all of it free. The knowledge did not die because it stopped working. It died because we stopped needing it. And the moment you need it again, it will be there, exactly where the Persians left it, written into the laws of the universe. The desert never had electricity. It had ice anyway. The only thing that changed is whether anyone still remembers why. Stay sharp, stay ready. And the next clear night, look up, because that black sky is the oldest freezer on Earth.